No, it's not final. It's a memorandum of understanding. And if I don't like it, we'll go back to shooting at them, dropping bombs on their head. If I don't like it, if they don't behave, we'll go right back to dropping bombs right smack in the middle of their head. Okay? Because they've misbehaved for 47 years.
So Trump's memorandum of understanding is collapsing in real time, and now he's panicking. There's a point where he says, if the deal goes well, I'll take credit for it, and if it goes poorly, I'll blame J.D. Vance for it. There's a point where he calls Barack Obama a stupid son of a bitch. There's a point where he says if any nation gives Iran a nuclear weapon, they will be nuked themselves. So that's Trump threatening to nuke Russia or China. And then in the same breath, he says, I'd like to thank Vladimir Putin and Xi Jinping for staying neutral, because if they had given Iran help, we would have been fucked up our ass even harder than we already were.
According to a U.S. official, Donald Trump needs the war in Iran to end as soon as possible, whereas Netanyahu needs it to continue so he can stay politically alive. This is because Netanyahu's governing coalition relies heavily on far-right ministers who consistently demand aggressive, uninterrupted military campaigns. So if he ends the war early without absolute victory, these factions might pull out, collapsing his government and triggering early elections. This war also helps Netanyahu deter investigations surrounding October 7th and delay his years-long corruption trial. But Trump needs the war to end because it's extremely unpopular, the midterms are coming up, it's collapsing our economy, and he promised us no new wars.
And then he also says that if the memorandum of understanding doesn't go well, we're just going to go back to bombing the ever-loving fuck out of Iran. He doesn't expect the MOU to go through, and it won't, because even if the MOU were signed, Israel will violate it within 25 minutes of the signing. And I think the Iranians know that, and that's why they put as one of the red lines that the United States must rein in its dog, Israel, but because the Iranians know that Israel is not the dog. We are the dog.
Greetings to you, my BPPN family. Welcome to Bold Perspectives Network. I'm Mr. Red. Now, I don't have a lot of time tonight to, get in deep with some of this, but I have a collection of clips that I feel it's important for you all to see, because what we have here is Trump can't get this deal done with Iran for a number of reasons. One of those reasons is that he has to deal with Israel and Netanyahu. And Netanyahu, what you're going to see is that he needs this war to continue. As you heard, if this war doesn't continue, then Netanyahu might certainly go to prison for a very long time. And Trump needs this war to end, because if he doesn't, he is a lame duck president and he will have no chance in order to overcome the midterms. But I have a number of clips for you that are going to show that there is no deal. This deal is about as good as the toilet paper that I wipe my ass with. And you're going to see that all this did was make America weaker. We have much to discuss. Let's strap in. Let's get after it.
So Wixara said we had a deal. That deal was going to be signed today. It was going to be a peace deal. Everybody's in that shit. From Israel to Hezbollah to Lebanon to Pakistan to the United States to Iran. Well, I don't think he's getting this birthday wish, baby. Because this just came out on X. Breaking news. Netanyahu directly rejects the Lebanon clause of the U.S.-Iran agreement announced by Pakistan, telling Wigs R Us the IDF will not withdraw from Lebanon and that Israel does not consider itself bound by the clause.
Bet you didn't see this.
Without the United States, there would be no Israel. Without me, there would be no Israel, because no other president was willing to do what I did. I've had a great relationship with Bibi, but now Bibi has to be more responsible with respect to Lebanon. Israel's fighting Hezbollah too long, and too many people are being killed. And you don't have to knock down an apartment house every time you're looking for somebody.
Now, we talked about this on Red Ninja Network, and on that, we went into how Trump right now is saying the exact same thing that Biden said to Bibi Netanyahu. He said, you can't just go and be taking down all these places just because you're looking for one person. Everyone needs to understand something. And this is something we'll talk about in a future video. Israel is looking to expand. This is what they want for Israel. They want for them to take this to the next level, to expand their region. They want the net man to go as far as it takes because they won't have this opportunity again for a while. And so you have competing interests. One, you have Trump, who is facing the midterms and who's going to be a lame duck, who is going to see a bunch of investigations, who is going to have all his dirty laundry out. And then you have the net man. If this war ends, they'll have new elections, he will be replaced, and he'll most likely go to prison for the rest of his life because he's wanted on charges. So both of these men have a competing interest, one to keep the war going, the other one to end it. But Trump, he needs you to believe that this deal is real to save face.
Everybody needs to pretend that this is a deal so that Trump can leave the theater. That's what this is, right? Trump needs to get out. And so they're going to pretend that there is a deal when there isn't. What there is a bunch of people who are finally willing to say, sure, we'll pretend you have a deal. Now get out. Don't let the door hit you on the way. And then once you're gone and your leverage has gone from none to zero, we will tell you the terms.
Iran, MOU, let's go over the terms. Did we get a regime change? Nope. Did the people overthrow the government in Iran? Nope. Did we get a hold of short and medium range missiles? Nope. Did we get a hold of any of the uranium? Nope. We got the Strait of Hormuz opened, which was opened before. And how much are we giving them? Trump railed on about the 1.5 or 1.7 billion that we gave them. What's Trump giving them? I'm hearing $300 billion. Let's just call it 10 billion. So times 10 what Obama gave them.
Have you heard the great news? Donald Trump announced that Iran has surrendered. He said they're going to sign a deal to give us everything we wanted. That's what he said. Right.
The document says Iran will never have a nuclear weapon, won't seek one, won't buy one, won't have one.
JCPOA said that
days,
too.
There'll be negotiations to make that final.
Oh, so wait. So this big win that Trump and Hegseth promised, that Iran was going to sign a document promising not to get a nuclear weapon. We already had that in the Obama deal? Huh.
Well, there's no deal. There's a memorandum of understanding to talk about a deal. There's an extension of the ceasefire. It's clear that the chain of events that started with Israel attacking southern Beirut led to some sort of reaction by Iran. President Trump probably assumed that he had to do something. Iranian press is reporting that he had to add some sweeteners to get Iran not to walk away from an imminent announcement.
And what was that at the end where Hegseth said there'll be negotiations to make it final? You mean this document that we're signing, it isn't even the deal? It's just a deal to make another deal? So wait a minute. We went to war and we spent all that money and we got American service members killed and we're all paying way more for gas just to get a promise from Iran to make another promise?
I wanted you to hear that there's going to be talks of an imminent deal. There's going to be talks that President Obama's deal was not good. So Trump had to tear it up and do what he did. And then he had to put us in war. He had to put us in this position where we pay more in prices in gas. He had to put us in a position where the Strait of Hormuz now is going to be controlled by Iran. He had to put us in a position where you have multiple service members lost their lives, bases around the world destroyed, our credibility destroyed, none of our allies helping us, and that we're completely isolated with the potential collapse of the US dollar due to losing a stronghold in the Middle East. He did everything that you don't want to do for an empire that is still trying to hold on.
Remember the video I did where I said Donald Trump is endangering the lives of white people, and that doing this invasion or strike on Iran is not just endangering white people but service members, and how doing such would then activate China, since China is responsible for 90% of the oil consumption from Iran. Everything he says is a lie. someone tapped him on the shoulder or tapped Pete Hegseth on the shoulder and said, look, if you do this, you will involve China. Iran will then focus on us, and then it would level Israel. Remember, China gave Iran weapons that was allowed or able them to pierce the Iron Dome. Yes, it's established that Iran has the capabilities to touch America's interest. Little brother, Israel. You get dragged into a war, now you're fucking with Iran that's going to focus on Israel. America would then focus on Iran, but they wouldn't be able to focus on China. And since the president isolated himself from the rest of the world, someone is basically saying that AUDUI hire, it is suicide. So someone needs to scramble and come up with some bullshit that 77 million idiots would believe.
Well, it looks now like Mr. Trump has lost his war of choice. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Major General Pauly. America is now weaker than it was before Trump started this war. Iran is definitely stronger. 13 KIA so far to show for it, 200 wounded plus. Our economy's under attack. War stocks are down. The Chinese are happy. And the Strait of Hormuz can be shut down at will by Iran. What's this MOU that we've got? We don't know. We haven't seen the details. We don't know how much treasure Mr. Trump is going to give the Iranians. We know what President Obama did, $1.7 billion, and the Republicans have never stopped talking about that. We want to see just exactly how much of the farm got sold to Iran.
But nobody could have made this deal. I mean, the JCPOA done by Obama, he handed him $1.7 billion in cash, gave him hundreds of millions of dollars, gave him billions and billions of dollars, but he gave him $1.7 billion in cash, green cash from banks, into a Boeing 757 and flew it into Iran. And they stood at the plane. I have pictures of it, like, oh my God, look at this money he's giving us. He tried to bribe his way out. I didn't do that. Nobody mentions that. $1.7 billion and hundreds of millions of dollars. They tried to bribe their way out of it. And you know what the Iranians did? They laughed at Obama and they said he's a stupid son of a bitch.
Now, there's a lot that we just talked about tonight, and I know that this is a lot to digest. The thing that I want you to take away from tonight's video is that none of this stuff is final. You have another country controlling our interests. Trump is trying to distance himself from it because he knows that his goose will be cooked if he doesn't. Unfortunately, that country, it's not real, is looking out for its own damn interests. And they will not stop because, again, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for them to not only take advantage of what they want to do in the region, but also to fully integrate themselves in with us so that if they happen to be taken out by Iran, then they're going to be here and they're going to be controlling everything. And that's the point. So one of the things that Trump likes to rail on is that the Obama deal was a bad deal. And so I want you to see Trump on the campaign trail talking shit about the Obama deal with Iran.
So CNN just released a brutal supercut of Trump railing against Obama's Iran deal for the last 10 plus years, and it is amazing. Here's the clip.
I would have never given him back the money. I would have said, the money is off the table, let's start negotiating. And you know what? I would have won that negotiation.
We can't continue to make deals like that horrible Iran deal where we give them $150 billion back.
The Iran deal was so bad. We paid $150 billion to sign a horrible agreement.
So after withdrawing from Obama's Iran deal, we now have a deal that gives Iran an extra $300 billion and has less nuclear guarantees. Iran literally just humiliated us on the world stage.
Stay vigilant, stay engaged, stay revolutionary.